our panelists, I see Lawrence from Blockwall, the co-founder and general partner. Great to see you. I see here on the screen Astrid Woolard from Smape Capital, a young venture fund. Very excited to have her on. I also see Alex from Frankenberg in, I don't know, where are you, in El Salvador?
Yeah.
On the beach. You have been recently there. So Alex from Frankenberg, the managing director of High Tech Gründerfonds, invested over the last, I think, more than 15 years, I think, in about 600 startups, largest European VC, if I'm not mistaken. Very happy to have you here. And last but not least, the entrepreneur's perspective, very, very important here. Vito Romovic, the founder and CEO of Polar, a project that I have luckily been in touch with, I think, from April last year. And very fascinating to follow this journey, let's say, from the first wins in the Solana hackathon, and then basically the fundraising and how this was structured, how this has changed. And this brings me to our topic, Venture Capital 2.0, maybe better, venture capital in the Web3 world. Did that actually change fundamentally, and what does it mean for venture capitalists? Yeah, I mean, we could say that the world is, so to speak, fundamentally different, because I would say the whole role of VCs is a little bit under threat, as people can now directly invest in tokens. So what is actually the role of a venture capitalist in the future, in this emerging token economy? Because as a venture capitalist, you are an allocator of capital in the first place, that's for sure. You do a due diligence on projects, and many of those projects today can issue via their token, can engage via their token directly with their community, which are at the same time investors or become investors in some shape or form. So I think a very interesting development. So what does all this mean to you? Now, who wants to start? Should we give ladies first? Astrid Woolard from Smape Capital. Maybe you can say a few words on yourself, on Smape, how this came to life, what the philosophy about it is, and what do you think about this change we are seeing? Because I personally think it's a fundamental change.
Perfect. Yeah, no, I'm a general partner and head of research at Smape Capital, and we're a purely blockchain-focused fund, and we predominantly invest into tokens as asset class. We will take equity if it sort of gets us to the token of a company for regulatory reasons. We're platform agnostic, because we just believe in sort of a multi-chain universe, and that every chain will sort of have its own prime use cases. And for that respect, we're also very much interested to see, how all this interoperability with different bridges actually will come along. We have different sectors that we invest in, less in DeFi, because we think that's already a little bit behind us now from, purely super innovation perspective. I think there will be some interesting use cases, but it will be hard to find a few things that will really challenge that. I think that, as you say, like, our VCs in this space fundamentally different to the traditional VCs. I mean, there are some dynamics that are a little bit different. I mean, obviously there are different topics that we also screen, like token utility and token economics. And we're very passionate about token utility in that respect, to really see that does the token really make sense in an ecosystem? Is there really a mechanism that will accrue value to this token? And is there actually a way that you could bypass it, which again means that it's probably less likely to be a good token design? Also token economics kind of structures are quite important to us, that there is no sort of majority that really holds too many tokens from investor perspective, whereas in classical venture capital, you try to get as much equity and as much allocation from a company as you can get. So here it's a little bit, at least we have this approach here to really de-risk also investments, and also feel that this sort of empowers more the decentralization aspect. What is also a little bit different is that actually VCs these days have to pitch to projects just the same way that projects pitch to VCs. So because there's so much capital lying around, you actually need to also prove your value add and what you actually bring into the table. In our case, we're quite unique in that respect, that we have a very strong legal and regulatory angle where we can actually also support projects. And this is also something that we take into our own due diligence process, that we only will invest into companies where we know there is sort of, for day present, a strong regulatory clearance. And from all the kind of networks that we hear also, that also in the future, these business models will be possible to sort of conduct. And so this has been a quite interesting dynamic from that perspective.
Thanks a lot, Astrid. I think many very valuable points here, especially also here towards the aspects here, what value add a VC can bring today here in terms of regulatory support, and for many, let's say, young teams as well that are out there and hit basically a reality when they want to start a venture. This can become an issue. So maybe with that, Vito, I want to include you very early, I think, in the conversation, because you are actually